fingers crossed. We could be live, but I think this bit's now not working, so bear with me a moment. Technology, don't you just love it? Sarah, I'd love to blame the weather if that's, I'm seeing a comment coming up from you. It says that, oh, I hate technology, people. Right, let's see how this goes. Now you've all got to see all the mess that's behind the camera. Hey ho. How are we doing? Right, so we'll be a bit wonky for a few minutes until we've got it all where we need it to be. I'm sorry, I've got a few buttons I have to press to get us going again. Oh, I hate it. I hate technology. I hate it. But that's why I do crafting, not technology. Hopefully we are now, I think we're only on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, I apologise. If we're not being filmed on here, I will post the Facebook live video, YouTube live video later. Mum, Martin, if you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, please let me know on which ones I'm on. It says I'm connected to YouTube but not to Facebook. Who knows? Oh, good grief. I really am sorry, ladies and gents. I'm seeing Dawn cheese on toast takes longer to clear up, does it? Obviously, I've missed some comments in there. It says, all good. I'm assuming that's Martin, and that means I'm on both. So if you are watching on Facebook, I can't see your comments. So I'm just going to apologise now and tell you that I will go back and read comments. I'll just say hello to everybody. I'm getting all of the messages through from YouTube, but nothing from Facebook. So here we go. So we are going to have a little bit of a play with some Honeydew Craft stamps and stencils and masks and lots of bits and pieces again today. So I'm actually doing 2 cards today. I'm treating you just because it's Easter. If, oh, you get me back again for a minute. If you haven't already seen it, we launched our Easter sale today. It is on all Honeydew Crafts products on our website. So anything that's a Honeydew Crafts product, you will get 20% off, but it doesn't include anything that isn't Honeydew Crafts' own brand. But there's still some really good bargains on there. Everybody tells me I'm still the cheapest, so fingers crossed. Janice, hi. I'm not sure what you're watching on. If you can spring up. Every so often I'm getting these little comments come up at the top, and I think that is people watching on YouTube, on Facebook, so I'm hoping you are seeing it. Right, sorry, I'm not going to apologise anymore. I'll keep mentioning it for those that spring in during the show, during the recording, and hopefully we'll get through to the end of this one. Right, so apologies for having to go off and come back on again. I think it actually happened a couple of times, so I've got a hair tickling the side of my face and it's driving me mad already. Right, so let's spin around and let's see what we're going to be doing. You've had a couple of sneak peeks. Right, Margaret, are you on Facebook or YouTube? Everybody keeps saying all right here, but I don't know if it's Facebook or YouTube. So if you can write all right here on Facebook or YouTube, fabulous. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to get us a bit straighter and a bit more where we need it to be. I'm just going to switch this off for a moment so that we get the camera. Normally I've set this all up so it's a bit closer in, but we had to go off and back on again. Right, so here we go. We are going to be using, where are we going to start? Got to clear some space. So, usual, we're going to be using Honeydew Craft sticky glue that comes in the 2 sizes. Sarah, I will blame the weather. Oh, what a horrible day it's been. It's like a winter's day today, wasn't it? The first card I'm going to be using, is going to be using our Magnolia stamp and our brick wall stencil. You all know I love my brick wall stencil. And that will also be using Kitsch Flamingo and our pens, the Zig Clean Colour pens that come, we're going to be using Cool Grey 099. So YouTube only. Sarah, Facebook's not working for me. Okie doke. Mid green 046 and sugared almond 200. Martin, I don't know what we can do about that. If you want to pop over. Dawn, now you've got it all. I don't know what you mean by that. Sorry, because I'm not seeing everybody. Okay, so we have got, for the second card, Clematis flowers. And our Grunge frame stencil on mask. And then we are using sentiments from Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to be using the thank you. And I think we'll probably use birthday wishes on the other one, but I'm not sure yet. We'll decide. The Oxides we're using are Faded Jeans and Shabby Shutter. This is my old Faded Jeans because I didn't have any in stock at the moment, so I couldn't bring a nice posh clean one to show you. So Faded Jeans and Shabby Shutter. We will also be using the Versamark Embossing Ink and Versafine Onyx Black. I think the best thing for us to do okay, okay, I can hear somebody coming back. Hang on 2 minutes. We've got Honeydew Crafts Crystal Clear Embossing Powder and Honeydew Crafts White Embossing Powder. And then we've got the anti-static bag and our vellum. We're also going to be using our smooth cardstock. Super smooth cardstock comes in 250 or 300 GSM. And our black, which comes in 120 or 270 GSM. We are only live on YouTube, so I don't know what to suggest, whether I close off and come back again, or we're just going to go YouTube, and I will post it onto Facebook as soon as I can later on this evening. So I think we'll just carry on and go with YouTube and transfer it over. I do not like technology. I have tried my best to get this working. I set it all up. It was all working fabulously. I checked it all, and then it throws me off. Never mind. We'll do YouTube and I will transfer over. If anybody is watching and it has access to Facebook, if they could please just quickly pop on there, that means Mum, and post that we're having issues, and I will be posting the video over as soon as I can, but you can watch us on YouTube. That would be great. Thanks, Mum. Right, so what do we need for today's card? So we have going to be doing, the first one I'm going to do is with Magnolia stamp. Carol, I'm not sure if that's you or Richard watching, but I need a technology whiz. Martin's brilliant at it, and it always works fine, and then until we come live, and then it all goes wrong. Anyway, I digress. We are doing a 6x6. Hi, Helen. So 6x6 card, and then we have a black piece. Oh, you're getting a sneak peek there. I'm going to move that. Then we've got a black piece which is 5 3/4 inch square, and a white piece which is 5 1/2 inch square. So that's our first card. I'm going to pop the black out of the way. We're just going to be working on this one. It's a super quick card to get everything we need. Oh, my arms aren't long enough tonight. So we've got our make art station. I'm going to pop my card down and take my brick wall, and we will just pop this on here, kind of in the middle level-ish. We're not filling the whole thing, so it doesn't really matter. So we're just going to hold that down. Now I'm going to take my pink brush and our Kitsch Flamingo. Now I am literally putting the smallest amount of ink on there because I don't want this to be too heavy. We're going to be colouring. You've actually seen what we're going to be doing because I've had it there without realising it. So we're going to just Lay a little bit of pink on here, quite light. Don't go too heavy-handed. Lift it just to see, yep, that's perfect. I don't want too much on there. You've got both. Very weird, I don't understand, see? The system I used told me that there was an error, but nothing else. Who knows? Thank you, Carol. Okie doke. So, very light touch. I haven't gone right to the edges. We've just kind of gone in with a really faded background there. We're then going to take our Magnolia stamp. I love this stamp. I've been having so much fun playing with this stamp. And we're going to ink up the stamp without spreading it across there. Ink up the stamp. Lots and lots of little light taps. But before I go in with this, because I'm going to be colouring it, anti-static bag over the top. If you've got time, leave it to dry a little longer if you can. And then we're going to stamp. It's going to be in my way, they're a bit low. I'm going to stamp our Magnolia straight onto the centre here. Press down. Now, Magnolias technically are white. I believe they're all white, aren't they? Is there any other colours? I'm not sure. And they have a little bit of a pink hue. But it kind of gets lost, so where ours are going to be all pink. Anybody who has access to the Honeydew Crafts page, not just the Be Inspired, the Honeydew Crafts as well, if you feel like posting on there that we're live on YouTube, that would be great. And then we're going to take that away. And then we want some crystal clear embossing powder. As you all know, we try to work a little bit quicker with the embossing powder onto the Onyx black, because it is technically not an embossing ink. And just sprinkle that over the top. Hopefully that will only stick where the ink is and not on the pink ink, because we want to be able to colour that in. As I said, this is a super fast card to do. I am just going to cheat a little bit, just because it means I can heat it all in one then and ink up my sentiment at the same time. And I will keep going with that rather than heat one and then go back in with the other. So we're going to heat that up all together. That just means my sentiment goes on straight, really, for me. It doesn't matter if you can't do both, but if you're confident enough to do it, go ahead and do both before you heat it up. So I'm going to heat from underneath, and that, even my plugs are getting caught up, good grief. And that means I put a barrier between my embossing powder and my heat gun, the air from my heat gun, which hopefully will prevent the embossing powder from jumping around too much. It does take a little bit longer to heat from underneath, and it does take a little bit of practice, so don't be concerned if you can't do it, or if you're not comfortable doing it. You're embossing it how you're happy to do it. Just mind your fingers, it gets very hot under there. And we're nearly there. So we'll give it a little bit of a wiggle. It seems really strange not being able to see everybody's comments. Now, some people are saying they can see us on Facebook and YouTube. Some are saying they can't see us on Facebook. So I'm not really sure what's going on, but fingers crossed you'll be able to see it all. And we will post it the video onto Facebook as well later. If it doesn't happen tonight, it will definitely happen tomorrow. Right, so I'm going to take this out of the way. Purely the reason it might be delayed is sometimes the YouTube hold us up posting, transferring the page over, so we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to go in with our pens. Remember, you need to block these as you're going, and quite often I will try and blend off the oxide, because this is just regular super smooth cardstock. It's not watercolour cardstock. So I'm just going to go in, as I said, I want mine to really pop. So we're just going to colour all the way over those petals. At the end of the day, it's a handmade card. It's not botanically correct. It doesn't have to be botanically correct. So don't have a hernia if your magnolias aren't all pink. So, as I say, just colour in. Now, the reason I always say to go quite light when you are stamping, doing a background, to do something to colour it in with. The reason I say that is because you don't want to see those brick walls through the petals if you can help it. There will be some parts that you will always see the brick wall through the petals, but on the whole, the image will take that colour away. You also don't want to be going back in and colouring that too much on the smooth cardstock, otherwise it'll start to rip your paper. As you can see, I go round quite quickly, I don't hang around. But just remember to do that blotting. Because otherwise when you go to put this together and you swipe your hand over it after all that work, you'll smudge it and you'll really regret that. As you can see, I'm not particularly delicate about how I colour things in. I find that by embossing it, it does help to keep you in the lines. So as I say, I'm sorry if you are trying to watch us on Facebook, or are commenting, getting to watch us on Facebook and commenting, and I'm not answering you. It's because I can't see them. Right, and then we're going to go in with the green. So this is mid green. And just pick up those stems. This is such a super quick card to make, but I think it's a really cute card. It would be a really nice card to maybe send out for Easter eggs from your kids, or if your children send out thank you cards to people for gifts. It's a nice card to send out. It's a nice one, they can colour it in, and it's just a cute little thank you card. So one of the reasons we have the grey pen is because we kind of want to ground this. So I'm just going to go around the outside edge of this with a really pale, you could quite often a pale blue or something like that will work as well, just to ground your flower. It kind of gives it a bit of a dimensional finish. But as you can see, I'm not spending any extra time making it perfect, and you will find that these pens the grey kind of darkens a little bit. It is a very light grey, this one. Now, I don't ever know if I'm doing this right, but this is how I like my finish. And as I always say to you, nothing is wrong. If you like it, do it the way you like it. There is no right or wrong way to do anything. And people only tell you it's wrong if they want to make themselves sound important. At the end of the day, we're all here because it's a hobby. Or it was a hobby for me. It's now a hobby and my business. But I love it. And that is how quick it is. Don't forget, you've got a couple of bits in here that you will have missed when you went round. Just pick those up. And that's that bit done. That's how quick that card is. Sarah, it's an 8, oh sorry, no, it's not an 8x8 card at all. It is a 6x6 card. The reason I'm going back to the one that I did earlier purely is because when you heat emboss, sometimes it takes a little while for the paper to relax a little bit, and I've got a little bit of a curl still in that, so if I just left that for a little while, it will flatten it, go flat again. So yeah, it's a 6x6 card, and my black is 5 3/4 inch and my white is 5.5 inch. And then, as I always say, don't forget to carry it through. So I've done the pink here, I've embossed, I've stamped the flower, but I haven't embossed it and I haven't coloured it. It's just kind of to take the theme through the card. I think it makes it look like a much more professional finished card, in my opinion, my own personal opinion. So if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that, but that's just something I like to do. As I said, some people are seeing it on Facebook and others aren't, so I have no clue what has happened there. I've never had that happen, that some can see and some can't. But what we will do is transfer it over. As soon as I can, I'll put a copy of it onto our Facebook page, hopefully this evening, but it may not be until tomorrow morning. I'll see what I can do. And look, you even saw that the first time I did that, it was really heavy-handed and it was too dark to be able to colour it in. So don't waste the paper, because who else is going to see that you've got a piece on the back that you've done it too dark with? And the only person that knows it's there is you. And if you don't tell anybody, nobody's going to know. So that is the first card complete. So that would fit through as a standard size letter, and a really cute little thank you card to send to somebody. And how easy was that to do? I think it total, after all the mix-ups and everything, maybe 15 minutes, and all I did was cut it out in advance. So I've got another one ready to go for another time. If you wanted to 3D it, you could decoupage the flowers or something like that as well. But I really like just a clean, simple, finished card. So we've used Kitsch Flamingo. We've used pens in number 6064, which is mid green, and 200, which is sugared almond pink, and we grounded it with Cool Grey 1099. Yeah, so that's card number 1. We will now do card number 2. So card number 2 is a little bit bigger. But actually, do you know what? This would look quite cute just on a big card, wouldn't it? Ooh. Who knows? So card number 2 is a 6, it's not, it's an 8x8 card. We have some odd sizes here, purely because I already had this piece of cardstock cut and I didn't want to waste it. So our odd sizes are 7 3/8 for this piece of card, and the larger piece is 7 5/8. You also going to be stamping some flowers out, so I just keep all the offcuts from my 12x12s or A4 pieces of vellum to do all my flowers with. So that's what I'm going to be using. So first of all, you're going to take your larger piece and just go around the edge really lightly with the blue. So this is Faded Jeans. So load your brush really lightly all the way around the edge, just to give you your matting and layering. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to all be the same all the way around, just a light touch. Okay. Let's wipe that down really quick, because blue, like the yellow, goes a really long way. Right, so we're going to go in with this piece. So that will be your layer. So that kind of is going to make your card pop. Then we're going to take our next piece, And our grunge frame, when I can grab it. Now I changed what I was going to be doing earlier on today, because this came to me came out of nowhere while I was pottering about earlier on. So I thought, right, so we're actually using my ones, they're not brand new pieces. So when we come to recap on what I've used, it'll be my pieces. So we are going to take the mask part of this card, of the mask, stencil and mask. So you've got the grunge frame mask, and we're going to just hold that in place. I'm going to take the ink. Again, you don't want a heavy touch on this. We're just going to brush over. Now you see me do quite a bit of blue at the moment, and my reasoning behind doing so much blue is it seems to be showing up better on camera for everybody. I think I got a bit of a shock when I saw the colour that Shabby Shutter showed up as. Though we are using it a little bit here, we're not using it, we're using it to colour the leaves. We're not going to use it for anything else. It's all going on now, somebody's car alarm's going off. Somebody said it must be the weather. I think maybe it is. Now you will see that I am also holding this down a little bit, purely because these magnets are super strong, but if it moves I'll be really annoyed, and I'm pressing down on it and dragging it away, which is not what you would normally do with a stencil. So I am giving it just that little bit of extra support with my hands. So, fingers crossed we're there. That's where it's going to be. So we've got our grunge frame. So we've used the mask, which gives us the centerpiece to play with. Pop that out of the way for a moment, so I don't want that going everywhere. Just move my board out of the way. So we've got our frame, and I'm going to pop that also to one side. You're going to take your vellum. Now, I always say this with vellum, handle it as least amount as you can manage. Don't be sticking your fingers all over it or whatever. The less you touch it, the better. So, let me grab these bits and pieces. This is the problem when I do two cards, I've got stuff all over the place. And I mean all over the place. It's balancing on top of all sorts of stuff here. So take our flower. I'm using the middle-sized flower for this particular stamp. So obviously just come in the 3 sizes. So I'm using the middle size, and I've taken these 2 petals to use. Lots of little light taps. Now, because we are stamping Versamark onto vellum, you can get first, second, third, fourth, and even 5th generation stamping out of this if you want to. The first one will always be slightly heavier, and then obviously as you go down it will get slightly lighter. And I quite often find that the best image stamped out is usually the 3rd or 4th one, because there's not quite so much ink on there. Just using the light to catch where we are. So we'll go for 4. I'm not going to do them all, and then we'll just do a couple of leaves as well, because obviously to save time I have prepped this bit ahead of time. And I'm sorry, I'm going to come in and say it again. If you are watching us through YouTube, and or sorry, you're trying to watch us through Facebook and we're not there, or you can see us, I apologise if I'm not mentioning you. I can't see your comments. My side is telling me that it's not on Facebook, but a few people are managing to see it, which is very odd. So we're going to go in with some white. Let me just make sure that I've got no crystal clear embossing powder on there, because I can't remember which way around I was using it. So we're going to take some white embossing powder on the vellum. Those of you that are seeing comments, you may see that Richard is commenting. Richard is married to Carol, who's on our design team, and they have the lovely Sophia. Now, a few years back when I started doing Facebook and YouTube lives, Sophia was arriving, and I believe she like arrived maybe a day or two before one of our lives, and she's the first baby in our group, of our little design team. So we're very excited. And can you believe Sophia is 3 now? Where on earth did that time go? It has flown by so fast. Right, so pop a lid back on there, and I've tapped the excess off. With vellum, when you heat it, hold it in the air to allow the heat to travel through, and as soon as you see it change, move the heat gun. It's almost like you want the powder to be chasing you rather than you chasing the powder. You will also see that I always heat this from above because it heats quicker rather than overheating on the vellum. So here we go. And again, mind your fingers, it gets really hot. Then, so you allow that to cool down just a little bit. Flip it over, and then we're going to colour it in exactly the same way with a blending brush, and we're just going to pick up some colour and scribble on the back. So again, I'm using the Faded Jeans, and this one is Shabby Shut Up. We are using this on the back to colour them in. That's how quick and easy it is to colour those in. So that's just scribbling on the back. Nothing is in the lines, nothing needs to be perfect. You're then going to cut these out. I know I hear lots of you say, I don't fuzzy cut. They are the simplest things to cut out, and I'm sure you can all manage to do that. So we are going to go in, we're going to cut it in to the edge, and where the petals overlap, I'm coming into the middle. You don't have to go all the way into the middle, just kind of a section in. It just gives you a little bit more movement on your petals so you can shape them. Now, if you're not the most confident of cutters, fussy cutting, then leave yourself a little border around the edge, and that will take your eye away from how well you've cut it out, or whoever receives it. And as lots of you know, if somebody complains about something I've done on a handmade card, they don't get a handmade card from me on their next event. As I say, it's super quick and easy to cut out. Now you will also notice that you move my paper, not often my scissors. Obviously your scissors have to move a little bit occasionally, but 9 times out of 10 it's the paper that gets moved, not the scissors. And that makes it a lot easier to cut out. So you'll end up with a flower cut out, and as I said, I've cut into all those petals. Alex, the pink I used was Kitsch Flamingo. So I'm going to take a kebab stick, and this time I'm just going to curl it like you would if you were curling ribbon for a parcel or something. Because they're quite small petals, you're not going to get that much more movement in them. So I'm just going to go around and curl them. That will mean my flower has a bit of a twist to it. I'm then going to go in with my nail and just flip those back up a little bit, but I keep hold of those petals. I don't want to break those petals off. and then pop it in my hand and give it a poke and a wiggle. And the heat from your hand will allow your flower to turn. There we go. Okay, so you end up with a little bit of a 3D flower. Here's one I made earlier. I told you, I've got lots of them cut out. And the same goes for your leaves. Just shape them how you want them. Sometimes I bring them forward, sometimes I bring them underneath, sometimes I put a kink on the end. It's however you want, just to give them a little bit of life. So then I'm going to take my glue, pop a little bit of glue in the middle, and try and off-center these flowers. You will not be able to off-center them completely because the flowers are not symmetrical, so there will be maybe a couple of petals that overlap or something, but just do your best, find the best position and just pop that in there. Leave that to dry for a couple of moments. It won't take long unless you're doing live TV, and it always goes well. And then I would pop a gem in the middle there. So I have done that and given myself 4 flowers. These bits and pieces out of the way. So I've got myself 4 flowers. Okay, I made these earlier, so I'll just give them a little bit more of a wiggle. Sounds like a winter's night out there. It's awful at this moment in time. The wind is whipping around. And then obviously I've cut out some leaves as well. So we've got our frame here ready to go that we stamped and embossed. Oh, sorry, that we used the grunge frame on earlier. I have got a couple of little gems here as well that I may well add in. Look at the mess I'm making on here tonight. That's just because I know I've got to tidy myself up afterwards. Right, so we are going to kind of roughly work out where I want my flowers to go before I pop a sentiment on there. I think we're going to cluster them a bit tighter. I'm going to pop one down here. So my sentiment, I'm kind of going to eyeball it. And I think we'll go with the blue. Yeah, I think I'll go with blue on this sentiment. I'm just trying to find where my daffodil stamp's gone to get my sentiment. What did I do with it? There it is. So we are going to use birthday wishes on here. As I said, I've got stuff everywhere. What a mess tonight. That's because I was being clever and thought I'd do 2 cards with you tonight instead of 1. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. So, as I said, now because we use a lot of these, we get a bit of a well in the bottom here, because we tend to use it a lot. I tend to use mine a lot for blending. You tend to go to the middle of your ink pad each time, so be aware of that if you are using them to stamp with. Work it around a little bit and make sure that you've got ink on everything. Roughly where I think my sentiment is going to go, and hope we're central. Now when you press the sentiment down, don't press too hard, just give it time for the ink to soak that sentiment in, and you'll get a really clean, crisp image. So then we're just going to stick, actually I think I'm going to stick this down on the layers first. It'll make it easier to build it. Before I stick this down, I'm going to just pop a little bit of something on the inside. Where's my frame? There we go. That's what I wanted. Just as I said, so we've brought everything in together. We've tied it in. I'll try and get something that's got a bit of a shape to it. I probably should have done it properly and used my magnetic board, but I'm doing that bit in a bit of a hurry. So that just brings what we've done on the outside inside. And I might just add a little bit of, because it's quite stark around the edge there. Frame. Get the frame, get the frame. Oh no. I've got all my frames caught up. Just to break that up a little bit. I'm going to use the same sentiment inside just for quickness. And I might cheekily stamp a flower in there. But I've purposefully made sure it's not perfectly inked. I don't want it to be a perfect image. There we go. That just ties it in a little bit. Maybe do one on the bottom there. Right, so we have tied in our front. Let's layer this up now. So we've got our larger layer, which is 7 5/8 square. Apologies for the odd shape. That was me just trying to use up a piece of card I'd already got cut. You don't have to make it the odd shapes. You can make it whatever size you like. Just remember that that stencil outer frame is 7 by 7. So your inner frame is probably about 6 and a half. So you don't want to go much smaller than that to get this effect. And as I say, if you haven't already seen, our sale, Easter sale, is now on. So you can grab yourself a bargain. So that's our matting and layering done. So you've got your edge with your bigger sheet of the blue around the edge there. So we're just going to stick these down just with some wet glue. If you do want to use foam pads on these rather than a wet glue, or tape rather than a wet glue, I would recommend you maybe put a little bit of glue on the pad as you put it down. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room to position them where you want things to be. Now I don't really like that up there. I want to come more around here. And then I'm going to take some of our flowers. Another little top tip is when I cut these out, I never cut the stems right at the bottom. It gives me, oh, come in a bit quick I think. Can you see? I've left the extra tail on the end of the leaves, because that gives me a little bit of more room to push those in and get a grip. I'm going to be putting some glue on them in a moment. I'm just working out my positioning of these. And if they are too long, I can cut them off, but if they're not too long, it gives me the room I want. And as I said, that one was longer than I wanted it to be. So just trim that off. Same with that one, it's a little bit long, so you can cut it off. as I say, I'm just positioning these where I want them before I glue them in there. Just so we can see roughly where things are going to be. I think that works about right-ish. So I'm just going to go in quickly and stick those down super fast. Hi Eileen. As I say, I'm sorry I'm not seeing everybody's comments. If you have managed to see us on Facebook, lucky you. If you haven't managed to see us on Facebook and you're watching it back, I apologise. Technical problems again. I have got to work out what is going on with this. Every time we have an update on anything, it goes wrong. I did the update 3 days ago, and another one came through this afternoon, so I did that, and that's where we seem to. But it was working before. After I'd done the update, it was working, so I don't know. We have got a really strong wind going on outside as well, so I'm wondering, joking apart, if it is actually the weather that's caused me a problem. It seems strange that some people are seeing it and some aren't. So, who knows? It's a little bit long, so I'm going to snip that off. And again, the bit that takes the longest is cutting your flowers out. If you are sat in front of the TV and need to keep your hands busy, then that was stuck itself already. That's a bargain. Some of them have stuck to the flower glue that we put down a minute ago, so that helps a little bit. And you want to keep your hands busy, then stamp a load out and sit in front of the TV and cut them out. If you don't know what colours you're going to use, colour them out afterwards. It's not as simple to colour them in once you've cut them out. It's just a little bit more fiddly, but you can still definitely do it. There's nothing that says you can't. I think this is the last one to stick, you'll be pleased to know. I can't even remember where I'd positioned it, but that's where it's going now. And now my flowers come off. There we go. So that is our, now I've got a couple of little gems here that I'm thinking I might pop a few on here, just to add a little bit on here, because I can, if they're going to stick, or if they're just going to stick to me. Let's grab some tweezers, that might help. Storm Nelson, I knew that they talked about a storm coming through, but I didn't think it was going to hit us. But the weather is definitely not my friend tonight, obviously. So just popping a couple of little sparklies on here randomly. As you all know, I'm not very good at random, so bear with me. Oh, that one flipped over. Don't you hate it when they do that? Jumping Jack Flash. I haven't lost my mind. The gems I'm using are all on long strips, so I just wanted to cut those off. Right, I think I'm done. And that is our Clematis flower card. As I say, we've carried it through there a little bit. Not so sure I like it in that corner like that. I might not have done it that way, but that's how we are. So that's us done. So, shall we quickly run through what we've used? I'll try and do it without making too much mess. I'll try and put them back as I'm going, and then maybe it won't look so bad. I'll just pop that to one side and then we can go back through. Right. So the colours we have used are Faded Jeans. Apologies for the box, we didn't have it in stock to be able to show you a new one. So we've got Faded Jeans and Shabby Shutter on that last card. The first card we used Kitsch Flamingo. We have used the sentiments from our Daffodil Delight. We've used our Grunge frame and stencil. Sorry, I'm trying to, there we go. Grunge frame and stencil. As I said earlier, I completely changed what I was going to be doing. So I didn't have a new one here to show you. Because it just came to me as I was playing earlier. I was like, that works, and I really like it. So, and we used our Clematis flower. So that was the first card without that one. The second card we used Kitsch Flamingo. We used the brick wall stencil. We used Steel Magnolia, and the pens we used were 099, which is Cool Grey 1, Sugared Almond Pink 200, and Mid Green 46. We used white embossing powder and crystal clear embossing powder. We have used Versafine Onyx Black and Versamark and our anti-static bag. What else did we use that I've missed? We have used our cardstock, which is in 200 GSM or 350 GSM, super smooth. We used the black cardstock, which comes in 120 GSM or 270 GSM, and some vellum. And these are the two cards that we have completed this evening. So we've got Steel Magnolia with the sentiment from the Daffodil Delight, and we have used the Grunge frame and Clematis flowers for this one, and again sentiment is from Daffodil Delight. Right, so after all of that, I feel like I've been dragged through a hedge backwards. It was a bit stressful with all of the technology going wrong tonight again. I am going to work really hard to try and work out what's going on. Google will be my friend for the next couple of weeks. I will let you know when our next Facebook Live is. We have got a crazy busy April. We have got, obviously Easter coming up, so not a lot going on this weekend for you guys, but behind the scenes there's lots going on for us. We have got our workshop up in Coventry on the 13th of April. Now that one is fully booked at the moment. I'm glad, Sarah. I'm glad you liked them. So we have workshop in Coventry on the 13th. On the 20th and 21st of April, we're in Newcastle upon Tyne doing a workshop at the Holiday Inn in Gosford Park. Do you buy this at an arts and crafts store, or can you order it? You can order it from our website. I think it's bringing across here now. Yeah, honeydewcraft.com, or if you're overseas, or honeydewcraft.co.uk if you're in the UK. We dispatch as quickly as we can. Obviously, Easter weekend means here in the UK, a lot of the post offices are closed for the next couple of days. Sorry, so back to our workshop. So we have Newcastle upon Tyne, 20th and 21st of April. We have one place left on both days because unfortunately for us, but not for her, a couple of our ladies are jetting away on holiday unexpectedly. So we have now I place on each day come available. If you want some more information on that, please feel free to email me at honeydewcrafts@gmail.com, or you can send us a message via the website honeydewcrafts.co.uk or .com. And then we have a TV in April. We weren't doing a TV in April, but we are now. They came to us and asked if we could fill a slot for them, which is the 17th of April at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. and that is on Hobby Maker. And if you pop onto our website, it will tell you the channels we're on. If you don't already know, Hobby Maker is now also on Virgin TV as well, so you can catch on all platforms. So we've got Sky, Virgin, and Freesat. Couldn't think what I was thinking about. So that's on the 17th of April. And then on the 28th of April, we have got the Craftorama in Lincoln. So that's at the Lincolnshire Showground. So as I say, we have a really, really busy April. So hope to see lots of you. For those of you that came to the Craftorama in Newcastle, or sorry, Gateshead Stadium last weekend, it was lovely to see so many people there. Hopefully you'll be able to join us again at those. We have got another one in Newcastle with Ross Paper Crafts at Bolden Collier. I think that's the 12th of May off the top of my head. So yeah, we're up and down the country quite a lot in the next few weeks. Have a lovely, super smashing Easter this weekend. Enjoy the long weekend off here in the UK, and if you're anywhere else in the world, I don't know what you're up to, but please have a fabulous fun family time, and we will see you all again soon. Don't forget, our sale is now live for Easter over on our website www.honeydewcrafts.co.uk or honeydewcrafts.com overseas. Have a great time, and we'll see you all again soon. Take care.